following is a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
Welcome to the System is Down.
Good morning, and what is up, Downers? Welcome back to the least comfortable show on the web. It is, of course, The System is Down, where we talk about all the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics, religion, all the things that make you delightfully uncomfortable, and we do so in a civil manner. Today we're doing something a little bit differently. So if you're new here, welcome to the show. Go find the person who invited you, give him a big hashtag #MeToo, kiss on the mouth, and a slap on the rear from you and from me. Because I like you being here. I always do, and I think that you're going to really enjoy this one. It's, like I said, it's a little bit different than what we typically do. For those that aren't familiar, I also do music of many different types and formats and all sorts of things whenever I get the itch. And I haven't released anything since we started this podcast, so we haven't really talked about it all that much on here. But I just released an album this last week with my good friend Travis. He wrote most of the instrumentation, I did the vocals and the lyrics and all that fun stuff. So I since we haven't really talked about my music on here ever, I thought it'd be fun to just kind of break down the album and discuss the album and kind of review the album. So rather than me just coming on and talking about my stuff, I wanted to have one of my best friends, Nathan Sipes, who's been on the show many times, come on and interview me and just kind of break it down and discuss it. Nathan actually is working on a podcast of his own right now, which will be releasing very soon. It'll be called Beard Stroking Podcast, where he just pontificates about different things with different people, their artwork, and I'm helping him put some of it together and doing some of the film and audio work, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be completely different than what we do here on The System is Down. I've been a guest on there, and we've talked about some things, dug into some things, and he's filmed and recorded episodes with several other guests already, so be on the lookout for that to come out. And that's the reason why I thought that he would be the perfect candidate to come on and interview me on my show about my stuff, because Nathan has a lot more technical knowledge in music than I do. So him breaking down stuff, I told him when we were recording his own show one day, I was like, "Welcome to Beard Stroking Podcast, where Nathan cares more about your music than you do." So it's like he's the great person to do it, because he really cares about it and he loves digging into it and really trying to figure out what made the synapses in the brain fire that got this artistic creation to fruition. So we're going to jump into that here in just a minute. Before we do, I got to remind you guys about the Downers Club. The Downers Club is what keeps this show going and getting bigger and better and more beautiful every single week. And members of the Downers Club just got they got this episode early. They got an early release of it on the same day that the album came out. So yeah, they've probably already heard it, but they're also going to get bonus content, bonus episode that I did with Nathan as well today. It's out now. It's out right now. And the album is out right now too. So you're going to hear all of the album here, but you can also check it out on all the streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube, all those things. So there's that. But yeah, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/The System is Down and help us keep this thing going. And if you've noticed, my audio probably sounds a little bit different right here at the top of the show. That's because sometime between when we recorded the interview and now when I'm recording the intro, my interface decided to no longer connect to my computer, so I have no way of recording audio directly into the computer, so I'm recording it into my Zoom H1 recorder, which is probably not quite as good of quality, but hey, we do what we can, and we make it work. But yeah, Downers Club money, if there's anything like that that comes up that's going to interfere with whether or not I can talk to my guest next week, I'm going to use Downers Club money to do that, to make sure that this show does not hit too many giant speed bumps or slam on the brakes ever. So, yeah. Consider supporting, and you'll also get a bunch of bonus audio and video content every single week at patreon.com/The System Is Down. All right. This is a bit of a lengthy one because we listened to all of the songs and dig deeper into them than probably any of you want to hear, but it's something that I would enjoy listening to. I always enjoy listening to artists talk about their creative process and kind of show where their brain was at when they wrote a specific song. So because I like it and I would like to listen to it, I assume that maybe one or two of you will enjoy it as well. So here is my conversation. Here's the interview where we switch roles and Nathan interviews me on my podcast. Talking about the end of the week. All right, let's get weird.
My guest today is the illustrious Dan Smotz. He is a good friend of mine. He's the frontman of Solidarity. Produced 0 albums, and probably 1% of you will understand that reference. Yep. End of the week.
If that, I don't think anybody I don't think anybody who would know that reference actually listens to the podcast. So probably nobody.
Okay. All right. Nobody is going to get that reference.
Yep.
Smotz and Benji Lee, My Own Devices. And if my tally is correct, that's approximately 16 or more albums and EPs. It's also produced over 25 music videos by my estimation, over 100 videos for weddings and general events, and on and on. 150 counting podcasts, I believe, and not the least of which he has produced 2 children.
My greatest productions thus far.
Yeah, and the one and only man to have kissed me on the mouth in front of my mother-in-law on my wedding day.
Yeah.
A lot of qualifiers in there.
You're the only man that I've ever kissed on the mouth, aside from probably my father at some point.
As a deep honor. I take it very seriously.
You should. Yeah, I'm glad that you kept track of, or not kept track, but did the digging to figure out how many albums and stuff, because I have no idea. I've lost count a long time ago.
Yeah, I probably missed some stuff. I failed to mention SVH, which was a short-lived cover project.
That doesn't count anyway.
But yeah, I may have missed a few things, but I did my best to estimate.
Yeah, I realized that in talking about doing this episode, I realized that with all the music that I've done over the years, I haven't released anything since we started the podcast, which is very strange to me because the podcast has been going on for a long time. Yeah,
not to mention you've got a few in the works, I believe. So
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah.
For what it's worth. It's always something. It's always an ongoing process of creating something here or something there. And if I haven't released an album in a long time, it's probably because there's 4 that I'm working on.
Fair enough. So yeah, thanks for joining me on Your podcast.
You and I are welcome.
All right, perfect. For anyone who is watching and or listening to this in the future, if you are watching from the beard stroking side, it will feel a little bit different. If you're watching from the System Is Down side,
that's an uncomfortable sentence. If you're watching from the beard stroking side, it'll be a little bit uncomfortable.
Well, that's what your podcast is about. So
that's right. Welcome. Yep. Yeah, we're doing a team up. If people didn't figure that out.
Yes, indeed. So Dan, the topic why I've asked you to join me today. Would you like to share?
You want me to share why you asked me to join you?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
This is confusing. This is like other reality. So there's this project. It was a secret project. And by the time that this episode comes out, it will have been released. And it was something Travis and I, we we've been working on side music. He's in the band that you and I are in, the Dawn Retreat, but he and I also have done side stuff basically since like high school years, and most of it never became anything. Some of it ended up turning into songs for my solo stuff. And even way back then, way back in like 2006, I think, we decided that we wanted to start a pop punk project and call it just SH exclamation point. So just shh, like the most obnoxiously hard to tell people what the band name is title, because his last name is Harms, my last name, whatever combination. Yeah. So that name has been a thing for a very long time.
Nice.
And we never released anything under that name. And then come like a year or so ago now, Travis just started sending me some stuff, and he was talking about joining a pop punk band. And so he started sending me stuff, and I was like, are you trying to sneakily get me to join this pop punk band? And he was like, no, but that's not a bad idea. And I really, really liked the stuff that he was doing. So I just laid down some vocals on it, and then we basically wrote this EP in a matter of like a week, the whole thing. Like start to finish, which was very not normal. And we were like, what is going on? Like he would just write something, send it to me. I'd write vocals and send it back to him. And he'd be like, wow, that's awesome. Then he'd write another one, send it to me and send it back. Like it all happened within a week, maybe a week and a half, which is why the album title is called The End of the Week, which was also what?
Perfect.
Yes.
Which
is also an inside joke, because our band, The Dawn Retreat, for a while was called End of the Week, but
some rappers sued us.
What's
that?
That?
Was a cease and desist. Then some rappers gave us a cease and desist.
They did. I forgot about that. Back in the MySpace days, I got a message from some rappers calling out this tiny little nobody band, saying, "You guys need to stop using that name because that's our name."
Yeah, it was kind of an
Cool,
honor
bros.
and also like a bit of a release from the name, because I think it had grown stale by that point.
Yeah.
But
like, thank you guys for caring about us.
Yeah. So while I was listening to this stuff and, digging through it and wanting to share it with people, I just kept looking at the title of the band, and it said shh. So it helped me
exactly
to remember to keep my mouth shut.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, this was not only like, this was a secret project kept from everybody. I shared it with you just because I wanted to do this episode, but now this project has become a secret from Travis, and it's going to release on his birthday, which will have been this past Friday. And he doesn't know, because we've been kind of sitting on it, there's been some payment issues and stuff, and I decided for his birthday I was just going to pay for everything and just release it and put it out without him knowing. So now it's a surprise, not to you anymore, but now it is to Travis. So it's been kind of a interesting process.
Yeah, that's great. So are we going to listen through each song here in the episode?
It's your show, man.
Okay, well, if I think it'd be cool to play each song and then talk about it. So
okay, would you like to actually listen to them together, or would you like to cut them in and say that we listened to them together?
We can do either way.
Okay, let's just cut them in and say that we listened to them together.
That works.
All right,
man. That's a great song.
Cool. So this first song is called.
We gotta cut. We gotta cut again. I sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So this first song is called "Butchers Be Trippin'," and yeah, here it is.
Trying to pretend I see some point to this, but I know
Wow, what a great song that was. We totally just listened to it together.
It's almost as though I can just I can still hear it in my head.
Yes.
Well, so I just get this out of the way because I know you didn't have a lot to do with this, and Travis isn't here. But I have to say this song has one of my favorite pre-choruses as far as like instrumentation.
Okay.
Just that the rhythm where it comes in on the offbeat, like it just gets me psyched up like every single time.
Cool.
And it just never gets old. And I'm kind of jealous that it's not one of ours.
Sure.
So just say that. But
yeah, this first song, like the songs on the album, we wrote them and recorded them in the order that they ended up on the album. It was just like one after another, and we were like, that's actually a pretty good order for the album too. So we just left it. So you can kind of even hear a progression in style, I think, and in what we decided to do as the album goes on, and it changes a little bit. But this first one was just like, he sent me a thing, and I was like, I'm gonna write like I kind of just wanted to, because for the Donner Tree stuff, I typically write heady, like deep introspective stuff, and I mean, not trying to be an ass or sound like an ass, but I do more like personal stuff for the Donner Tree, and I wanted to just write something that was super like throwback to the old pop punk days of she dumped me and screw that, and write something that has nothing to do with me. So I did, and that's what came of it.
Yeah, well, it definitely carried through. I was instantly, when I listened to this track, I was picking up on like Newfound Glory vibes, and just it felt like stuff we would have listened to back when we started playing. So yeah, that definitely carried through for me. But it didn't feel like it was just trying to be a throwback. It still felt relevant, which is pretty cool.
Sweet.
And a lot of that, I think, has to do with the fact that you did a lot of really fun, clever things with the lyrics on this song.
Thank you.
And
even when I'm writing about nothing, I still like to be clever.
yeah, totally. Let's start it out at the beginning. I like what you do in some places where you end out a phrase as though it's the end, and then you pick it up, and it just changes the meaning. But it's almost like you get two or three meanings for the price of one.
Sure. Feel free to throw out some examples, because we didn't actually just listen to the song, and I don't remember some of the stuff off the top of my head.
And you're breaking the fourth wall, dude. So the first line is, well, the news gets around like you, let me down again.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Don't be ashamed. You know what you did.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote this stuff. It's fresh now, but it's been quite a while since I've really dug into, like, it's been a while since I've written it. I don't like really dig back into what I had in mind when I was writing it. So it's interesting to get back into with somebody who's just now listening to it.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this is something that you did on purpose or not. It's hard to tell with you because there's so many things you do. I consider you sometimes to be an accidental genius. And so it's like, I don't know whether you meant to do that or not, but in either case, it's super cool. You said, I'm done trying to take it easy. Apart from you, girl, you know, I would do anything.
Oh yeah. That was intentional.
Yeah. So there's two parts there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you can figure it out.
I debated on whether or not to go that dark with it, but
it's hilarious.
I went there. I thought it was, I got a chuckle at it.
Oh yeah, and that's what it's about, because you're not in a breakup, and you're a grown ass man with two kids, and you know, so it's kind of a tongue in cheek poke at the guys who are in their 40s writing about high school breakups, and so
not in my 40s. Shut up.
Whatever.
Shout out to Pierre Bouvier from Simple Plan, who's still singing about his dad not being proud of him.
That's right. Well, he's probably in his 80s now, so
that's true.
You probably can't even hear what he's doing.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I don't know. There's just a lot of really good things here, even if they're not necessarily like multi-layered like that, that are just, they're cleverer than like, I hate you and you're such a butch, or
right.
Yes. Yeah. So go ahead and maybe just tell me a little bit about like, what did you receive? Did Travis send you like the whole completed thing, or did you guys go through arrangement at all?
He pretty much sent me what is there, like almost entirely. Like that's what made me like, yeah, we need to make something completely different out of this. Because he just sent me, like, he did the drums, the bass, the guitar, and sent me the whole thing. And I'm like,
Nice.
well, shit, man, what have you've been holding out? And
Yeah,
I
no
had,
shit.
like, when he sent it, I assumed it was something that he had been working on with another band or something. But he was like, no, I just wrote it. I'm like, screw you. And I was like, this is freaking sweet. And, yeah, I think we adjusted a couple things in the aftermath, but we didn't do too much. Like, most of it is as it was right from the get-go. Some of the drum stuff, the guy Tim Kennan from White Light Audio did the mixing and mastering, and he switched up a couple things on the drum arrangements, like making some of the fills more interesting and stuff like that. But other than that, like, it's mostly just what he wrote just in
Nice.
his free time. So shout out to Travis.
Pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool that he can self-produce and, arrange things in
Right.
such a way that you don't really feel the need to change anything up.
Yeah,
But,
for sure.
yeah. Going back towards the end of the song, one of the other things I really liked is, again, that where you're putting out a phrase and then you're completing it and giving it a second meaning. Where you say, "You're the one thing I'll never regret letting go." Mm-hmm. And so I liked that one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad because I know that most of these things, like, when I come up with it, I'm like, that's pretty good. And then I know that there's a very good chance that nobody else in the entire world will ever be like, that's pretty good.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I will, because it's just
Switch
how
it
I
up.
am.
Switch it up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more there to dig through, of course, but I don't need to read your song to you and tell you that I like it.
If you want to, you can just read all the lyrics and say, we together we can just be like, yeah, this is really good. Good job,
Yeah.
me.
Oh yeah, nice line, dude. The other thing, man, I really liked this overall, and it's something that I've seen. I have the advantage of having intimate knowledge of the lyrics that you write over the years because I'm part of your band. But I've seen you grow, not just like in the way that you express yourself, but in your artistry of just writing the words so that they work in the structure of the song, if that makes sense. So a lot of people might just think verse, chorus, bridge, and then just write a second verse. But I noticed a lot where you were focusing on how the line that would lead back to the chorus would play with the first lines in the chorus.
Sure.
And so I liked in a lot of places where you were paying attention, it seemed anyway, when you were writing structurally to make sure that what you were writing or what you were finishing writing when it was going to go to another section or go back to the chorus, you were just kind of putting a little extra thought into making sure that it played well, which I thought was really cool because I wouldn't necessarily be able to do that. I would just think, okay, I've got my verse done, Right. I wouldn't be thinking this needs to play well with the chorus because that's where it's heading. So I thought that was really cool. You did that more than once on there.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's not really something that it's usually those are happy accidents where I'm like finishing up a line. I'm like, it could be that. And then I'm like, or if I change this word slightly, it like leads into the next line, which is the chorus repeat and everything. So
Nice.
It's not always like well, I mean, it's intentional, but usually I'm
Sometimes
just
it's
as
in the moment.
stoked about it as you are. So
Yeah, for sure.
like, wow, I didn't know that was a possibility, but it's not like, I don't know. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it.
Cool. Yeah. So that song is not about anybody in particular or anything.
No, that is the only one that doesn't really relate to anything intentionally. It was literally just like, I want to write something like an old Good Charlotte or Newfound Glory song, like some of the stuff that we grew up on and everything, and just kind of a throwback to storytelling about a girl. And that was kind of when we started out. I was like, I'm gonna make this whole project like not about me, has nothing personal. It's just gonna go like storytelling and old school. And then the second song, I totally stopped doing that and never went back. But
Nice.
so that's the only one where it's just like, yep, story, and the rest are actually a lot more personal.
Yeah, totally. So, and with that, we'll move on to the second track. It's called Old People Music.
Old People Music, yes. And
So-
here it is.
Well, I remember the days, the moments, remember the times, the golden years when all we do was dream of being our content. We'd be up all night, couch keep knocking, we were making trouble only in the courts of our mothers. Didn't know what the future would be then. It seems nothing has changed. Get better with age, keep singing. 'Cause whether we're writing our lives down as lyrics to another song, or whether we're singing all night without dream of you singing along, the best has been yet to come. I try to make it all make sense, but in the end, with this without meaning, I try to capture the way I'm feeling. Will I ever get over this? Such passion of an expiring tape. Will I ever feel like I said all I had to say? Don't know what the future will be then. It seems nothing has changed. Get better with age, keep writing our lives down as lyrics to another song, or whether we're singing all night without dream of you singing along, the best has been yet to come. The best has been yet to come. It doesn't matter if the radio will ever play the songs we wrote. The jukebox in your hands on repeat and sing, you never know. It doesn't matter if the radio will ever play the songs we wrote. The jukebox in your hands on repeat and sing it, so we can write our lives down as lyrics to another song, or whether we're singing all night without dream of you singing along, the best has been yet to come.
All right, so yeah, that was Old People Music.
Old
And
People Music. Old.
I'm just wondering,
Is it
where's
old
the
people
yeah,
music?
emphasis?
Or is it Old People Music?
Or is it Old People Music? Or is it Old People Music? This is mostly what we do on Beard Stroking. A lot of pontificating, a lot of postulating.
I don't think that's
lot
the
of-
best way to promote your show.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, typically what we do on that show is just say nonsense back and forth
Yeah.
and disagree with each other's nonsense.
It's just, yeah, it's a lot of nonsense, emphasis.
Yep. Anyway, so we just listened to that song, and we didn't just spend a bunch of time trying to fix a technical issue. We totally
correct.
listened to the song. So what'd you think of that song? I'm not interviewing you. Where were we?
Well,
what's
yeah,
happening?
I think categorically that song is probably the second song on the album. So I can
Thank
say
you for
that much.
noticing.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your attention to detail.
Yes. Musically, again, since Travis isn't here, I'll start there, I suppose. Some really cool things going on here. I like that he can take a pretty simple, typical chord progression and make it still interesting. Mm-hmm. That's not a knock at him. I think that's really cool because I always struggle. I'm always looking for some new chords or something,
Right.
you know,
Something
like,
that's never been done, which doesn't exist.
yeah, just something that excites me. But
Yeah.
like he is able to excite me with simple chord progressions. I'm just maybe not as talented in that department. So
Sure. It's the
but
difference between
there's-
pop and like hipster music.
whatever crap I listen to.
Yes. There is value in pop, knowing how
Yeah,
and when
totally.
to use simplicity.
Yeah, and I think it's leading into the second chorus. There's a really cool guitar part that you cut out your vocals on to highlight.
Yeah.
And again, that's a really cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was this one much like the first one, where he pretty much just sent you a completed work, or did you guys go around on some of the arrangement?
Pretty much all of them. Like, I think for the most part, he pretty much just sent me the track and I wrote the vocals, and then we tweaked a couple things, but for the most part, they all are what they were. This one, story-wise, is...
Yeah, I picked up on the story.
I'm curious of your interpretation of the story, so what are your thoughts before I tell you what I meant?
Well, because I know you intimately, and I understand kind of where you're coming from, and share a fairly similar background. This to me is definitely about like when you would with probably different people, but in this context, probably with Travis, just get together in high school and make music and just hang out at your dad's church and just like make stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, as a kid, you have all these dreams and everything, and which is great. But then like you get older and you're still kind of doing the same stuff, but you're getting better at it. And it's like, you're not necessarily concerned about the results. You're just, it's what from the beginning you were kind of like programmed to do. You just, that's who you are. And, yeah, like it says, it doesn't matter if the radio will ever play the songs we wrote. The jukebox in your head is on repeat and singing every note. And that's kind of what it's about. It's the people that like listening to it. It makes it mean something more for the person who created it. So that's my interpretation.
Yeah, you got it. You pretty much
Okay.
got it. You pretty much said what I was about to say. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, back in those days, me and Travis would spend like tons and tons of time. We had a little room in the back of the church that we had a quote-unquote studio set up where we just had like a computer and we had instruments and stuff, and we would just make sounds into computer mics and things. We had no idea what we were doing, but we had the same drive and passion at the time. We had this vision of what we were going to do with our lives, and it was completely different than what happened. But nothing has changed over the years, except that now we have a different vision. We're still like doing the same thing. We're still just making sounds into technology and putting it out there into the world. And it's not about making a music career or anything. It's just about I've got this passion. Let's put it out there.
Totally. Yeah, and to be clear, recording into a desktop computer microphone, probably no more than 1/4 of an inch round.
Yes.
Diaphragm into a 1/8 of an inch jack into the front of a computer.
Yep.
In all of its glory.
Yep.
What kind of a program were you using to edit that stuff or to mix it together?
I'm sure we were using Audacity at the time.
Sure.
Yeah, and we were using I don't even think computer mics exist anymore because there's there's a microphone in every single computer, so it doesn't matter. But it was like like a microphone into back when they had 1/8-inch mic jacks on computers, and we tracked drums in that manner, we tracked vocals in that manner, we tracked guitars in that manner. We had no idea what we were doing, but and I don't know if those recordings will ever be found or see the light of day, but doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So that is also where one of the very first Smotz recordings was made, and one of my very favorite Smotz recordings, the Pennies interlude.
You can find it. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, for anybody who is curious and unfamiliar, which is probably everyone is unfamiliar, some of you might be curious.
You should
It
be
can be found.
unfamiliar, and you should not be curious. Just leave it
It
alone.
should be. It's wonderful. It's my favorite thing ever.
I'm glad you like it.
It will give you a newfound appreciation for Dan and his awkward humor.
The awkward goes back intentionally many, many, many years. I've been weird since the beginning, so
That's
you
very
can
true.
dig into my history. It's on YouTube, and it's fine. It's whatever.
That awkward humor is one of the reasons why I love it, because that is same type of humor that I have. So
Yeah, I'm not like ashamed of it or anything. It's the only thing that I would be ashamed of is the quality of it. But
yeah,
like,
which is perfect.
yeah, it makes it even better and more awkward. But
If it
it's
was
fine.
a high quality recording, it would be probably less
suck.
entertaining.
Yeah, it would suck.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's obviously something that, like, those types of experiences, for those of us who have had them, are, I think anyway, some of the most treasured things. Like, you didn't have quite as many stresses in life, and you were just like doing stupid shit with your friends and like having fun and exploring different things. And like you were saying, towards the beginning of the song here, let's see where it is. We were making trouble only in the chords of one more verse. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I'm kind of, for one, I guess it's just, you're exploring the terrain because you don't know a whole lot about, you know, what has been done, what can be done. But also, I don't know, some of what I was reading into that is like when we got a little bit further into the career and started working with producers, they would kind of cut all the extra garbage.
Sure.
Like, you know, you don't need 5 verses and 7 choruses in this song and 2 bridges.
Right.
So yeah, we would kind of run into a situation where we disagree, you know, with, you know, the producer on what to cut. It's like, how could I possibly cut this song down from 7 minutes? It's wonderful.
Right.
And,
Actually, the meaning of that was different than your interpretation. I like your interpretation, but
Sure.
What I meant by we were making trouble only in the chords of one more verse is that we would be at the church there, and we were young kids, and the cops would come and knock on the doors and stuff and be like, "What are you guys doing?" It's like, we're literally just here making music, and I'm the pastor's son, or I'm cleaning the church. Like I'm doing absolutely nothing wrong, but the cops would still still come and try and bust us for something. It's like I don't do anything. What are you talking about? There's plenty of kids out there to bust that are doing quote unquote wrong things, and all we're doing is making music late at night. So
yeah, you guys are clearly smoking the devil's lettuce in the choir loft.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think I think this again kind of gave me feelings of, you know, some of the older punk bands that we'd listened to. Just, I mean, musically it's similar, but it was just one of those things that, whereas the last song kind of like thematically threw back, the lyrics felt like that. This is just casting you back to like just a mental snapshot of the landscape of what was back then. And
Right.
yeah, so this album definitely, at least up to this point, had a really retro feel for me, which is cool because, I mean, obviously Travis is still writing like current pop punk music.
Yeah.
That, you know, really it is old people music nowadays. I don't know any young kids that are writing pop punk music.
Exactly.
Or at least not very many of them. It's not the same.
That's why we wanted to do it. And the few people that I've shown this stuff to, at this point, I mean, when this comes out, it will be released, but I've showed it to a couple friends and family and stuff, and they've been like, "Holy crap, nobody does this anymore." And I'm like, you know what? We didn't really think about that when we were writing it, but yeah, nobody really does that anymore. Nobody does like guitar-driven pop punk stuff anymore. It's weird.
Oh yeah,
that everything has shifted completely.
Yeah,
So it used to be everywhere.
Exactly, and that's been something I've kind of been going around with in my head is, you know, a lot fewer kids are learning to play guitar or, you know, any physical instrument. A lot more are asking for like MIDI controllers and, you know, drum pads and stuff. And they're just doing it in the box on their computer, which is fine. I'm not like against that, but it's weird that in just, you know, 10, 20 years, it's shifted so much that a lot of kids aren't really even interested in playing a guitar.
Right. It's like everybody acted like Guitar Hero was going to get kids into playing guitar. It's like, no, it's going to get kids into EDM because they're just pushing buttons. It's going to get them into programming stuff more than playing guitar. So
Yeah, and it's interesting the way that it changes the music that they write, but
Yeah.
and some of it I like, but a lot of it I just can't really relate to, and that just starts to make me feel like, the old guy that's like, this isn't hair metal.
Sure. I like
Yeah,
both personally.
guys.
Like I like all the
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
stuff, and I like the typical stuff too. So
Yeah, there's definitely some younger people are doing a lot of really cool stuff that I really appreciate. But yeah, it just, I don't know, makes you wonder when we get older, are we still going to be writing and playing the same type of music? Or are we
Right.
going to adapt and shift what we're doing? And
we'll probably
so,
keep
yeah.
writing the same stuff, and then
Yeah.
we'll be the same as the guys that we look at now as the the mullet wearing Metallica ripoffs that I recorded so many of when I was running studios.
Exactly.
Which
Yeah.
is fine. To each their own. Whatever. Live out your
Yeah.
nostalgic dream. It's fine.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, again, we can dig more into that if we wanted to, but there's a lot of cool lyrics there. You should check them out if you're listening. Are you going to post these in
If you're not listening, then
show notes?
it's going to be completely irrelevant, all the things that we're saying.
Well, I mean, if you're listening to the music, you just heard it. If you weren't reading along, you should check out the lyrics.
Yeah. The lyrics, I don't know. They'll be available somewhere.
All right.
I don't know.
Cool.
They might be in the show notes or something. You can find them if you
Yeah.
look for them hard enough.
All right. Well, with that, let's listen to the next song, and I will warn you. You might want to get a box of tissues ready. So
This next song is called Lessons.
that's
Here we go.
correct.
My legs and arms are only getting heavier. Can time tick backwards? The kids are in the backyard playing some stupid game while I write this stupid verse. Don't blink, it's gone before you learn. These are the lessons that we fear. We try our best, but still we take our time and press unwind. We're left with only hope for next year. I guess they grow up faster than I can. I'm stuck in the same damn rut again. I never wanted to be another statistic. This shit's tough to swallow. These are the lessons that we fear. We try our best, but still we take our time and press unwind. We're left with only hope for next year. We keep saying it. Maybe next year. Keep saying it. Maybe next year. We keep saying it. Maybe next year things will be much different. These are the lessons that we fear. We try our best, but still we take our time and press unwind. We're left with only hope for next year. Next time I swear I'm gonna change. I'll write it down and say I'm a different man than you know I am. I hope I can at least fool you better.
No one makes me cry my own tears. No one. So I listened to this song first, and then I watched the video. And fuck you for making me have feelings.
Honestly, yeah. Like, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but it's like I watch it and it makes me have feelings. So
yeah, well, it's not like your video editing is so great or your songwriting is so great. It's the content, it's the subject matter, and for those who may have just listened to it but haven't seen the video, yeah, I mean it's a complex song about like what it's like being a parent and having children, and also being somebody who has passions and wanting to continue to pursue those passions and feeling like you're taking time away from your family, you know, and every year that goes by, they're getting older. And so you want to spend more time with them because you have less time, but you're still, you know, it's this cycle. And if you've been a kid and you've been a parent, you kind of understand that tricky dynamic that when you were a kid, you probably wanted nothing more than extra time with your parents until you reach a certain age. And I mean, your kids are kind of getting to that age.
Yeah, they are.
So,
and when I wrote it, I was in a worse headspace than I am now, so I can appreciate the song even more now. But I was in a space where I'm like the line, my kids are in the backyard playing some stupid game while I write this stupid verse. I wrote that literally while my kids were in the backyard playing some stupid game. Like I could hear them outside the window, and I'm like, "What's the next line to this song?" I'm like, like why am I writing? Like it was super trippy because I'm like, I'm writing something. I'm spending time away from the kids that are playing some stupid game. I'm spending time writing something that I'm really passionate about. That is like bashing on itself, basically. So
and like, why am I not out there playing with my kids?
Right.
You know,
it's like I could be. I don't know why I'm not, because I want to write this, but I also want to do that. But time and life and things are hard.
Yeah. Well, and I think like, you know, you love your kids and you want to spend time with them, but also like you want, like you're passionately driven to do this other thing, and in a certain sense, like you want your kids to be able to, when they're grown up, look at it and listen to it and appreciate it. So you don't want to, I don't know, like not a whole lot of people can pull out not a photo album, but a music album of something that their parents did when they were growing up. And I mean, it's super cool. Even though it does leave you with a lot of complex questions.
Sure. Yeah. It's like, it's a strange line because, I mean, one of my driving motivators for still doing creative stuff is like, I see everybody who's like, they grew up, they had a passion, then they grew up and they had kids, and then the passion just goes away. It's like, I don't want my kids to look back in, like, if they looked at the order of my life and see, oh, he loved doing this thing, and then I was born, and then that thing suddenly stopped. Like, I feel like that is, I want my kids to be able to look at me and see that I'm still passionate about life and not just everything is you guys. I'm going to spend my life passionate about you. I am passionate about you, but I still am a human, and I should continue to pursue myself as well. I think that's where, like, that's a weird area that most people get hung up in, and you see all these people that are just like, it's like, what were you? What was that thing that you loved to do? Because you're not doing it anymore, and why not? And it's not a good thing that you stop doing it to devote that time to your kids, because now your kids just see you as a person who gave up because of them, and they might even blame themselves because of it.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, both of my parents were incredibly musical, and I mean, obviously, so am I. And it's something that I like. For one, like, my mom can play circles around me on the piano, and she can read music better than I can, and I'm no slouch. Like, I'm pretty good at both of those things, but she's better, and she hardly ever plays. And so and like, I think it was last year when you interviewed your mom, or maybe it wasn't during that, but I know you've told me, like, she used to paint and stuff, and like, she just stopped because she wanted to raise you kids. And like, that's admirable, but at the same time, like, you are the person that you are, man. Like, well, how could you completely segment that? Right. And don't
like, stop being you just because I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're looking at giving your kids the gift of passion for life, for living, and not just a feeling of obligation, or again, like you said, a feeling of guilt, of like, well, Dad did do this until I came along, and then that changed. Like,
Right.
You're letting your kids see you live passionately and intentionally, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This kind of relates, but about a week ago, I was talking to my son about music and stuff, and I've said to him before, I've asked him, like, do you like that you have weird parents? And he was like, "You're not weird. Everybody else is weird." I'm like,
That's awesome.
"Pound it, kid." And then like a week ago, it was just like out of nowhere. He just I don't remember what we were doing. We were just in the kitchen or something, and he's like, we were talking about my music and stuff, because he has a Dawn Retreat album that he got at our show, and I was like, I was like, "Do you know anybody else whose daddy's released music?" Like, he's like, "No." And I was like, "I've got like 4 other CDs that I'm working on right now." He's like, "I love that I have an awesome weird daddy." I'm like,
It's so cool.
"Get out of here, kid. Get out of here.
No
There's
kidding.
some dust in the air, I think."
Well, that is super cool, though. It's a validation, to a certain extent. And yeah, I really think that's true. Like, your passion for your life is not separate from your passion for your kids and your family. Like,
Right.
all of that stuff is wrapped up into one. And so you may not have realized this, but so you don't swear a whole lot in your art. You swear, casually when it comes to you in conversation, but in your art, yes, you do, you motherfucker. But in your art, like, I think it's not the subject itself, but I think you like to be more creatively expressive, and so you choose better words rather than just peppering that in. I think that's your motivation. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It has to have reason. Like, I'm not, like, I do rap stuff, and it's not like the F word every other word is never. So if I do it, it's because I was like, it has to be there.
Yeah.
It has to be
It's
there
the right
to
word for the right
have
time.
the emotion that I am feeling right now. So
Totally. And you, I believe, have, maybe not in any released material, but I think in some of the stuff that you're working on, maybe dropped a swear here or there. But I think
there's
it's ironic
3
that,
total that will be coming out over the next year.
I
I know where they are.
That,
I know where they are. I placed them intentionally, so it's not just flippant.
Exactly. But the first one to be released is a song about your kids.
It's true. It's
And
true.
I think that's ironic.
Yeah.
Because most people try not to swear around their kids, and you swear twice in this song.
It's true. Like, when I was writing it, I was like, I could flower it up, but I am just really unhappy with myself right now. And for me to come up with another word is just disingenuous. So I'm just going to do it, because this is a very emotionally raw song, very personal song. And it's mostly about how annoyed I am with myself. And I'm not flowering it up when I'm talking to myself this way. So why would I flower it up for the song?
Totally. Yeah. And, so here's the other thing I really like about this, is that musically, I think there's 3 choruses in this song, maybe 4, but lyrically, you replace one of the choruses with different words, which are, of course my screen goes off when I use it.
Next time, I swear I'm going to change.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I will read it in a second.
You were saying that the last chorus is an alternate chorus.
Yeah, I think it's the second to last chorus is an alternate chorus. It's
I don't know, man.
yeah, it is that same thing, but I think then you return around. Maybe you don't, but yeah, you're saying next time I swear I'm going to change. I'll write it down and say I'm a different man than you know I am. I hope at least to fool you better. Yeah, I think that is being very honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're kind of saying, like, I know the kind of person that I am, and I know that I probably won't do better, but at least maybe I can make you think that I'm doing better. And in that headspace, I can totally understand that.
Yep. Anybody who can't understand that is being dishonest. It's like,
Yeah.
I know that I've been a crappy husband and father at times, and it's like, I hope that I can do better, or at least convince you that I'm better, or something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying. Like,
And
I'm
some
just
days
being
there's
honest.
not much difference between the two.
What?
And sometimes there's not much difference between the two.
There's no
If they're-
difference. Like,
Yeah.
like 99% of the time, if you're
Exactly.
if you're doing better as a husband or father, it's fake it till you make it territory. So, it's not like it's not real. If you're being a better person, whether you feel like it's real or not, then you're being a better
Right.
person. So whatever.
Yeah, doing the actions sometimes is better than changing your heart.
Right.
So you're saying I'll write it down. Is that something that was literal, or was that a metaphorical?
It was literal. It was. I think that was more in reference to like writing notes to my wife and saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna do better" and stuff like that. So it was like, yeah, I'll write it down and say I'm different. Everything's better, but we're human, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, totally. Well, and just as you were in one headspace writing this song, you can be in a certain headspace when you're having a discussion or a crisis or whatever, writing a note, and you want to be better with everything. And then as the days wear on you and the moments, that's when it's hard to live that out.
Yeah.
And you know that because you've been through it.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
I totally
It was also
could.
the write it down was also kind of a we set New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. It's like next year, got it. I'll write it down. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's more than just saying that you're going to do something. It's every single second of every single day, changing and deciding to be a better person. So.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and saying, I guess they grow up faster than I can. Yeah.
Yep.
And
I mean, we all looked at our parents in their 30s and we're like, oh yeah, they've got it all together.
Yeah.
And now it's like I'm 30 and I'm still like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And my kids are like growing up faster than I'm able to figure out what my plan is for my life. It's like the dirty little secret is when you were a kid, all the adults that you thought had it figured out were all panicking inside too, and they had no idea what they were going to do. So,
yeah.
it's like, I just wish that more people could be honest about that. Like, I try to be honest with my kids and tell them I don't know things. I don't know everything. Like, don't expect when you get to my age, don't feel like you're wrong when you realize that you're 30 and you don't know, you don't have the world all figured out while your kids are growing up and learning quicker than you can. So
For sure. Yeah. And for someone like your daughter who is a very type A, very organized person, I'm sure it can feel like, man, she's got it all together. And where was I at her age? Where am I now?
She's exactly my wife.
Yep.
Both of our children are mini me's of each one of us. So
Exactly.
it's creepy.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I love that you're making intentional choices to be open and honest and physically affectionate towards both of your children, but especially your son.
Yeah.
That you can see he is exactly who you are, but
because of
you're
that,
making
he is
intentional
like
choices.
he can push my buttons in terrible ways, and I can I can be more loving to my daughter because I've gone through all that with my wife.
Exactly.
But our son is like me, so he has things that I can appreciate extremely, like it's like hyper intensity for the good and the bad. So if he does something that irks me, it's like much worse. But I'm trying to be like, it's good because it's like I can look at him and be like, I know where you're at. I get that. I get what you're thinking and what you're going through, and now I can just give you what I know that I wanted. Nothing against my dad, but what I know that would have helped me as a child growing up. So. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, and that's all you can hope for as a parent is to try to take the lessons that you learned as a kid and try to build upon it and improve the next generation in any way you can. But for those of you who are not parents, I'm sorry. This might be boring, but
shut up. Yeah, and in the video, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. But it's a bunch of clips. It's a bunch of clips of me and Travis's kids growing up, and then video of me and Travis just playing with deadpan faces, and my son writing lessons on our shirts, writing the word lessons. That was just kind of it was just, I don't know where I was at. He loved doing it though, which is the huge irony in all of this. It's like I'm spending time with my kid and he loves doing this, and he doesn't even realize that it's about me not spending time with him and me not caring about him and stuff. So it was a very strange and surreal thing to do, kind of.
Yeah. Well, and he's acted in other videos as well.
Yeah.
Well, the one that we made is public. You know, I'm like chasing him around and being weird, you know, towards him, but like he had a ton of fun doing that too. And all of these things that we do, like, you know, and he loves going to our shows. Like he loves listening to our music. So like all of these things that you do are not devoid of your children. Right. It's super cool that you can share that with them. Yeah.
I mean, they're a part of the art, like in lyrical content, in the videos and everything. Like they are a part of my life, so they are part of the art. So it's not like I'm choosing one thing over them, even if I'm working on that thing. It's like this is your thing too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll just end by reading the no line with the bad words.
Go for it.
I'm stuck in the same damn rut again. I never wanted to be another statistic. This shit's tough to swallow.
How dare you?
Yeah. So, yeah, that definitely feels really honest. Yeah. And for anyone who has tried to swallow shit, it is not easy. So,
fear factor.
All right. Let's move on to one of the more densely packed lyrical songs.
Sure.
And the only one with a guest vocalist on it.
What?
And the one with a guest vocalist on it.
Correct. This is the title track, End of the Week, and here it is.
Well, I live the 9 to 5, 1,000 times, and I get it, yeah, I get it. I've never made a dime from all these rhymes, but I never wrote for anyone but me. Well, I've watched the dawn retreat and leave me here with nothing but the summer heat that's awakening.
it was.
All right, sweet. Yeah, so that was. I don't know how many people are going to pick up on a lot of those references, but anybody who was somewhat local would probably pick up on at least some of that stuff.
Sure.
And one of the references actually made an appearance on that track.
Yes. Yeah. It was featuring Lance Deshane from the band Sleepwell, who has been a friend of the band, who Travis and I have both worked with his former bands even before Sleepwell, and I've done artwork for them, and we've done recordings for them, and friends for a while, band friends, and he agreed to, we sent him the track, and he agreed to come in and tear it up, and it was supposed to just be like a short vocal part. I don't remember what the initial intent was, but I ended up saying, just take big chunks of the song, just be on the song, because like it's fun, and it's fun to collaborate with somebody else. And he basically just came over to Travis's house one day, and he didn't know the stuff really, even though we sent it to him, but he knew it enough to agree to do it, but he didn't know it, and so we had a good time just going back and forth, giving him crap, and I really like where it came out. I always have a hard time giving up some vocal lines that I enjoy because I like how I did them, and then somebody else does them completely differently. But it's still like, it means more for you to be singing on this because of what the song is and what the song's about.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's the struggle of collaboration. You know, I was when I was tallying up the EPs and albums from each of the projects, your solo project had the most albums and EPs, and it's just kind of it was a marker. Like the band that you've been in for over 10 years released four projects, and your solo project that you've been doing almost as long but not nearly has released at least 150% as many. And
sure.
So but the thing of collaboration is you're giving up part of the control, but then also you're getting other minds in there, and it slows things down sometimes because there's more deliberation. Sometimes for me, when I'm writing, it actually speeds things up because I'm thinking less about judgments. I'm just making choices, and if they say that's working, I just go with it. But
that's more in the writing process. This was like it's written and it's done, and I have something in mind, and that's always hard. I've done it with like my own devices and stuff, and even some of my solo stuff had people do guest vocals on stuff that I wrote for me to sing, and then letting them do it. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't do the inflection exactly the way. Like it's just weird nitpicky stuff where I'm like, I want you to do it, but I want you to do it exactly like I did it, and that's not going to happen. It's just really stupid OCD thing, but in the end, I like it better that they were there and took ownership of it and did it in their own style. So they're doing their thing. You had two guest vocalists on one of the tracks on Smotz and Benji Lee. What was that like? Did you already have those parts written, melody and everything? I wrote them, and they tweaked a couple things to fit their style, and I had to let it go. But they were two friend bands that I was recording their albums and stuff, so they were already in the studio working with me. Cool. And I was like, I want to collaborate with you on this, and I did write the stuff. I wrote the melody and the lyrics and everything, but they made it their own. So
sweet. So
I had to force myself to let them.
Yeah, totally. What made you ask Lance rather than somebody else?
Mostly just he's a mutual friend of Travis and mine. Like there's not we both have like a bunch of different band friends, but there's not too many that we both are mutually friends with, and they're a local band, and this song has a lot of local references in it, and I've always really enjoyed Lance's vocal styles and everything. And they're a band that's still active. A lot of the bands that we're mutual friends with aren't active anymore. And they had I think they had an album that was set to come out or just came out or something. I don't know. But mostly just the fact that he's a good friend of both of ours and has worked with us. And that still doing stuff that we could like feed back and forth off of each other, and
Cool.
help promote each other through it. So
Yeah, cool. Yeah, he's a cool guy, and yeah, the Sleepwell stuff's really, really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I think kind of in the body of the song is that collaboration, the cross promotion, and collective kind of attitude.
yeah,
That we're trying to build, rather than some of the destructive tendencies bands tend to have when they're young and inexperienced.
yes.
Or even when they're old and inexperienced.
Yeah. And as you know, and as I've said many times, and probably not on the podcast, but bands that are like, if you're in a scene where bands are fighting with each other, it's like neither of you are going to accomplish anything. You're never going to get out of your local scene, quote unquote, if you're not just supporting each other and having fun, doing something fun together. Like if you're not supporting each other, then nobody's going to make it out. Maybe one of you will if you work together, but more than likely still you won't. So the best chance that you have is to have fun with it, collaborate, make good art, good music, and work together. And maybe in doing so, one of you will rise above the local scene. So
Yeah, and it's like you both have the same love for the art that you're doing, or at least you should. You know, if you're in it for the right reason, just having fun should be at the top of your list. And you know, nobody has the exclusive rights to somebody's ear holes, and so I mean, I'm not going to just listen to one band because they don't like another band. Like I'm going to listen to whatever the hell I want to.
Yes,
So
the band drama back in the day, so painfully painful.
Oh yeah,
and just it made no sense. It's like we're arguing with each other, or we're like competing with each other for this tiny pile of shit. Like there's no end prize here, but we're like bashing on each other to try and get that pile of shit. It makes no sense at all why we're arguing with
really,
each other.
you should have more appreciation for one another because you're both grinding at it, you know.
Right.
But and there were definitely some of those, you know, some of those groups that you definitely had that kindred spirit with, and a lot of those guys that, you know, we've been involved with over the years. I want to read through the lyrics and I want to try to see if I can pick up on all the references.
Okay.
Or if there's stuff that I'm missing. I'm feeling like there's a couple where I can tell there's a reference there, but I'm not quite putting it together.
Sure. Do you want to explain what you're talking about before that?
Did we play the song yet?
Well, we played the song, but I mean, in the lyrics, there's basically call-outs to different band names that are
I didn't know if we had talked about
wordplay
that.
into lyrics and stuff. So
yeah, my bad. Yeah. Your wordplay in this song has to do with, you know, area bands and stuff like that for sure, and trying to make it fit in a song in a natural way, trying to kind of craft a story that feels natural, lines that feels fairly natural, while at the same time referencing bands.
Yeah, and telling a story throughout all of it too.
Yeah. Okay, so are these lyrics that you wrote specifically for this song, or had you written them before? Because I feel like you either did something like this before, or you had me read some of these lyrics a couple years ago.
I wrote them specifically for this song. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Okay, maybe I wrote something with some of those bands in it and never did anything with it. But I almost felt like
I've had an idea to do something similar to this for a while, but this is the first time I've written it down and done something with it. So. Okay,
yeah, I was trying to remember as I was listening. I'm like, man, this really feels very familiar.
Sure. To
something that you had done, but yeah, maybe we had just talked about it. So yeah, it's this first part. I don't think there are a lot of lyrical references, but I'll read through it. Well, I lived the 9 to 5 1,000 times, and I get it. Yeah, I get it. I never made a dime from all these rhymes, but I never wrote for anyone but me. Is there anything in there that I missed?
No.
Okay, perfect. Just the reference to what we've done. Well, I watched the Dawn Retreat and leave me here with nothing but the summer heat that's awakening just the kid in me, and I'm never going back. So I think there are two references in that line. The Dawn Retreat and just the kid. Did I miss something?
Summer heat it's one that's basically just between me and Travis, because when we initially came up with the SH name, we were going to tell people it's Summer Heat. It doesn't stand for Smotz and Harms. It was going to be like Summer Heat, and then a number after it or something. Way back in the day, that was the idea. So that's why.
Yeah.
So it's basically a homage to ourselves from 10, 15 years ago. So
Okay, sure. Yeah, that tracks. It felt like a reference, but it didn't mean anything to me. I actually like that Summer Heat. So yeah, cool. The next line, which is the first line of the chorus, because everybody's searching for security or living for a check at the end of the week, and I'm not ready to grow up, if that's all it means. Two older references there, searching for security and end of the week.
Yes.
End of the week being eponymous as well, but just an older version. Searching for security was the old band of your brother-in-law.
Yeah. The listeners are familiar with Cole. It's his old band.
Okay. Yeah, Cole. Yep. And, well, I'm far from fearless, but I'm trying to kill this monster looming over me. They say I'm a zealot because I wave farewell to the last leading the classic symphony. I'm going to stop there.
Okay.
So, is Far From Fearless a reference?
Yeah, they were a band a couple years ago that we played a show with and I played a show with. They're they're a band from, what's the place? I don't remember. Localish band. They've played around here, and they're not a band anymore, but yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it sounded familiar, but yeah. Trying to kill this monster. So to kill a monster is mutual friends of you and mine, but they are not local per se.
Right. They're from out in the Columbus area.
Yeah.
I'm still working with them off and on. They're one of the bands that have stuck with me and are still working with me off and on from back when I did that. So
cool. Yeah. The next line, they say I'm a zealot, which is a reference to the Zealots, or as Travis likes to say, the Zealots.
Zealots,
yes. He was in a band with Micah and most of the other guys. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. He was in a band with Micah and the guitarist, and I think one of the other guys. But yeah, I recorded when Travis was in Hello Ramona. I recorded some of their stuff early on too. So
cool.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun that it butts up against Hello Ramona. Some of the members that were in Hello Ramona butts up against because I waved farewell. I don't know if that was intentional.
It wasn't.
Okay. To the leading last, which or to the last leading, which is a reference to leading last, correct?
Yes, it could be leading last, or it could be led by last, which was another really local band that I never saw.
Really?
But there was a band called Led by Last from the Aledo area way back in the day.
Okay.
When we were like in the Killers days.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily for them. It was more for leading last. But if they want it, they can have it. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Leading last from North Dakota. Is that correct?
South Dakota. One of the Dakotas. I don't know.
Somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Who would want to live there? But
yeah.
Yeah. Leading last definitely takes one of the top spots for me as far as enjoying music of. Check that out if you don't know about them.
Yeah.
Are they still active or?
No, they've been dead. Okay. I recorded their 2 albums and they were great, but they've gone on to do other things. But definitely check out those albums because I think they're really good stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, and he is a really cool guy as well. So
I think they still have their Bandcamp up. I think it's leadinglast.bandcamp.com. So
okay, yeah, cool. And then the Classic Symphony, is that a reference to the New Classics?
No.
Okay, you failed me.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think there was any reference there.
Okay. You should have said to the new, I wave farewell to the last leading the New Classic Symphony.
You do realize that I call out New Classics later on in the song, right?
Yeah, I see that now.
Okay, cool.
There you go. Well, I fixed your song and then you fixed it back. So,
yep.
Okay, and then we lead into the next section. So sleep well and know that this life is only death. Sorry, that in this life only death is guaranteed. A reference to sleep well. Did I miss anything else?
No.
Okay.
There are some times where it's like I gotta continue. Like I'm trying to still make a point, not just list off names of bands. So there are definitely bands that did not make the cut because their names didn't necessarily work in the song.
Wouldn't work.
And there are times where I'm not naming bands. So
sure. Well, whatever. I guess you do you, man. This winter in Chicago is forcing me to the summer heat. 2 references now I know. Chicago Winter. Defunct band as well.
Yep.
But also
friends?
very great. Yeah, good friends, good music.
I'm still trying to get them to write some new stuff and come record with me. So check
be
their
great.
stuff out. It's probably on. I think it's that. I think Chicago Winter stuff. New Men and Nest. Their album is one of my favorite albums of all time. I'm just gonna say it. And it's on. I think it's on Apple Music, but I'm pretty sure it's at least on Bandcamp. So check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, Bandcamp's the place to go for indie music if you're not aware. It's pretty much where everybody is. That's maybe not in some of the mainstream streaming platforms.
Yep.
I know the box is comforting, but I know what it's like to be free, and I'm not ready to grow up, if that's all it means. There's nothing there, is there?
No.
Okay, cool. Well, it's time to rewrite all the rules and accept the new classics. There we go.
Ta-da!
New Classics being a cover band that you and I and Travis were in, as well as Cole. And not to leave Adam out, but we just probably nobody knows him.
He won't ever listen to this, I'm sure. Anyway. So.
Yeah. And then it has been revived recently to include yourself and John. Has John been a guest on this show?
Yes. People know John and Kayla's in it as well. So.
Yep. Live out the passion. The worst case scenario is the inevitable. What do you got to lose? Nice grammar there, Dan.
What? Nice what?
What do you got to lose? Nice grammar.
Hey, it flowed better.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair.
Worst case scenario was a band that I recorded as well.
Wasn't okay. I was thinking it was Ono Scenario or something like that.
I never recorded them. There was a band.
Okay.
They're out in California now. They were from the DC area. I recorded them. The dude that was on the Wrong Target song in the bridge,
right.
he was from Worst Case Scenario. They're defunct to my knowledge as well. But
Gotcha.
just shout outs to some of the guys that I enjoyed recording and working with. So
Yeah, cool. We are the future, and it's now, and we're here, and we're working it out. And then you repeat that a lot.
there's nothing
We are
in
the
there.
future. Was that not a band?
I'm sure it is, but
Okay. But
no,
there's
nobody
nothing
that
there.
I know who wasn't
Okay.
intended to be.
Yeah, and the rest of it, there's basically the same and no references as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fun. Like I said, density of lyrical content is pretty intense there.
Yeah, I wrote that and sent it back to Travis and blew his mind.
Nice.
Because he didn't
Love it.
realize that at first. He was like, end of the week. Wait, what? Actually, when I wrote it, I was listening to the stuff in the car. I turned it on for Kayla, and she was like, she didn't realize that it was my stuff. And she was like, did they just say
okay.
searching for security? She's like, did they just say end of the week? And I was like, yep,
How-
sure did.
How can your wife not recognize your voice?
You know, ask her that question.
Okay, fair enough. She's so oblivious to everything like that. It's infuriating.
So yeah, some people can pick up, like I can pick up on, like I can hear a vocalist if it's somebody that I'm familiar with and know who it is, but she can't hear her own husband singing and realize that it's him. I think a lot of it was because she actually said, and I quote, probably not direct quote, but she said something to the effect of, "It was so good, I didn't think it was you,"
Oh God.
which I'm fine
Well,
with. She's not like into a lot of the music that I write, just
No.
like stylistically, but she likes the pop punk stuff, so she
cool.
didn't realize what it was.
Nice. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that your wife's unfiltered opinion is
Right.
that she liked it and she thought it was good without knowing that it was you.
Right. Yeah. And that was kind of the purpose. Like,
Yeah.
I always hate like showing something to somebody that I know really well and being like, "What do you think of this?" Like, I don't want your friendly, "What do you think of this?" Like, "Oh, it's good because it's you." I want, like, I can get back pats from my mom whenever I want. I want you to actually tell me what you think of it, and I can't get that unless you don't even realize that it's me. So,
Yeah, similar story. I did a quick mix on a project one time, and I was testing out a certain type of an approach or something. Like it wasn't meant to be like a final product or whatever, but I wanted to listen to it in a different environment because I did something weird, and I wanted to hear it in the car because most people who mix or get a mix, they listen in the car because that's what they're used to.
yeah.
and I had my wife with me, and she was like, "Who did this? I don't like that." And I was just like, "Whoa,
all right,
slow your roll there." I was like, "Well, I appreciate your opinion, but yeah, I did this, and it wasn't necessarily for your consumption, but I appreciate your feedback."
Noted.
Yeah. So a certain amount of humility when you're married to somebody is required.
Yep.
But I'm obviously, when you're listening to this, it will all have been released, but in our world, in our timeline, which is the darkest timeline,
yes.
Travis's birthday has not yet happened. We have not yet celebrated his birthday. We have not yet surprised him for
He
his
doesn't
birthday.
even know that this album is out.
He doesn't know anything. And I'm excited for everybody to hear it, but I'm excited to see the look on Travis's face. So
Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be good.
yeah, it will have been fun.
Yeah. Confusing.
So, well, yeah. Well, thanks for joining me on your podcast, and
You're welcome, and I'm welcome.
thank you. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Let's do it.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me on my show and your show or whatever this is.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks for discussing things.
thank you for giving me things to discuss.
Okay. Thanks for caring.
Well, thank you for scaring.
All
It's your
right.
turn.
Goodbye, everybody.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed that, whatever that was, as much as I did. And of course I did, because I got to talk about me for a while, for once. Yeah. Now, I really enjoy discussing things like that with Nathan. It's something that he and I, whether there's a mic recording or not, that's something that he and I will do on a pretty regular basis whenever we're together. So it's pretty commonplace for us, and hopefully you enjoy his show. Keep an eye out for Beard Stroking Podcast, which I will be announcing once it is made available. And we'll probably end up having to do some sort of crossover episode where we talk about music and stuff, review albums or what have you. But you'll be hearing more of Nathan in the very near future. And once again, go check out the album if you haven't already. You can go download it. You can stream it on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, all those things. Or, if you don't have money, or if you don't have a streaming service, or if you don't care enough, you can just go listen to it for free on YouTube. I uploaded the whole thing there, and you can listen to it. It's one of the track. If you type in the name of the album, it should come up, and you can listen to the entire thing for free. But I don't make art. I don't make music. I don't even make this podcast in an attempt to make money. I make it because I enjoy it and I am passionate about doing it. So I'm going to put it out there. And if you feel like throwing a couple bucks into support it, great, because it wasn't free to make. I spent money on the mixing and mastering process, and it was far from free. So anything that you feel like pitching in for any of these things, more than welcome. Or just listen to it. That's fine too. The Downers Club, you can sign up there if you would like to support this show and keep the show getting bigger and better, and help me diagnose my audio problem that will make... You'll know if I fixed it, because come next week, if this part, the intros and outros of the show, sound better, you'll know that the issue was resolved. But if not, we'll see what happens. But if you want to support and, help me fix this thing, great. Go sign up at patreon.com/The System Is Down and join the Downers Club for as little as $5 a month, and you'll get bonus episodes of the show every single week, and you'll get to be part of something cool, something that's a fun community, a nice little family that we've got over in the Downers Club exclusive forum. So check that out. And the documentary is coming along, The Moon, the Myth, Legend. If you haven't heard, I'm working on a documentary. all about why certain people still think that man has not landed on the moon, and why other people think those people are retards, and why humanity functions the way it does. We're going to dig into a lot of areas on this one. It's going to be a fun new experience. It has been fully funded, and but you can still go over to Indiegogo if you'd like to pre-order your copy of the film. Just go to Indiegogo, look for The Moon, the Myth, the Legend, or you can go to moonmythlegend.com and find all the information there. You can see the artwork, watch the trailer, watch all that stuff. So check that out. Also be sure to like, share, subscribe on all the stupid platforms. We are on the Twitters, the Instagrams, the Minds, the Gabs, the YouTubes, the HugeTubes, the Facebooks, the I don't know. All the things. Go find us there, like us, share us, and subscribe us, and I'll love you forever. Also, please leave us a nice, happy review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or whatever you want to call it, because that helps people know what they are getting into when they peek in through the store window and try and figure out what the System is Down is. Because if you just jumped in on today's episode and you start listening to it, you might be like, oh, yeah, sweet, a music podcast. I love music podcasts. And then you listen to the next one, and it happens to be, I don't know, about abortion or gender non-binary people or something strange. Let people know, hey, this is just a place to be raw and authentic and weird and be real together. So leave us a review. Do all the things that you can do to help get the show out, and I will appreciate you very, very, very much. You can also shoot me an email directly at dan@tsidpod.com if you have any questions or guest suggestions or topic suggestions or anything. This show is here for you and I to learn and grow together. So if there's anything that you want to dig into or know more about, shoot me an email, dan@tsidpod.com. All right, is there anything else that I am forgetting to talk about? More than likely, yes. But I can't think of what they are right now. Oh, Porkfest. I will be at Porkfest if you're familiar with that. It's Roger Paxton and all the libertarian folk put on this festival, this libertarian festival up in New Hampshire. It's coming up in a couple weeks. If you're going, let me know, and we'll meet up, grab a drink, and hang out. But I will be on Mark Claire's panel, I believe Friday morning, talking about podcast communities, building communities, and such things as that. So if you're there, be sure to check it out. And if you're not there, get your shit together, I guess. All right, guys. I think that's it for me for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you enjoy the album. I hope it is the soundtrack to your summer and you have a great and wonderful one. So, yeah, go out, talk to somebody. Be nice, be loving, know what you believe, and have an uncomfortable conversation with someone. And if you'll have me, of course, I'll be back here first thing in your ears next Monday morning with some more uncomfortable content for you. Until then, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.